What's up, Hockey Think Tankers? Welcome to another episode of Short Shifts on this beautiful Wednesday. In case you didn't know, Wednesdays are sponsored by Skate Tech Skate Sharpening and Equipment Repair. They bring you NHL quality service at an affordable retail price. With over 24 years of sharpening equipment customizing experience, Skate Tech serves as your personal equipment manager, provided the highest quality skate sharpening, blade profiling, team uniforms, and equipment alterations available on the market today. Let Skate Tech help you take your on-ice performance to the next level with the edge the pros trust. Check them out at skatetechsharpening.com.
What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Happy Short Shifts. 10 minutes around the clock. Jeffrey Jehu Lavecchio has no idea what the topic is going to be today. Should he accept this challenge and be my co-pilot on this magic carpet ride? We are going to have some fun today. Good people, Jeffrey. You ready to rock and roll?
Let's rip, baby.
All right. So I got a fun one for you here today. And so it's obviously the NHL playoffs going on right now. We're getting towards the end of the playoffs. But one of the things that really has been catching my eye, and I feel like I'm hearing more people kind of talk about it, but you always kind of talk about it during the playoffs, and that's momentum. Momentum. And so I want to know from you, you obviously played a lot of years, played a lot of meaningful games, playoff series, all this kind of stuff, a lot of different levels. How do you coach momentum? And so specifically, when the team doesn't have momentum, right? The other team is kind of hemming you in your zone and you kind of the tide is coming, they're getting chances. You know what I mean? When you're on the bench and everybody's kind of cheeks are a little bit clenched. And then the other way too, how do you gain momentum? How do you keep it, sustain it, get it going? So wanted to ask you about that because I'm sure for the last round here of the playoffs or so, it would be kind of a cool thing for people to watch for.
I mean, I always used to, I don't remember what team I played for and when it was, but the coach would always say, get a push. Something good happens, get a push. Something bad happens, get a push. You get scored on, get a push. We score, go out there and get a push. And so what did that mean? Do something that gets the boys energized. Get the puck in deep, hem them in right after they score a goal. So we take some momentum back. We chop their legs off. A big hit, always going to do it. Pro hockey might be a fight. Something that we can kind of start to rally around, yes, let's go. Way to go, Johnny. Let's go, boys. Look what Johnny just did. Okay, let's build on that. So I think it's imagine, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. You just got to do something to hit that accelerator, to go from stopped or backwards, probably, if the momentum's not in your favor, you're getting pushed backwards. Somebody puts their foot down and takes that first step forward. It's the ball the pebble starting to roll down the hill at the top of the mountain. What can we do that gets something that gets the boys amped up? And now let's start to feed off that and try to grow and build.
Yeah. So you mentioned a few of those things. Pro hockey might be a fight, might be a big hit, things like that. What are other things a little bit more maybe in a kid's control or a team's control that they can do to kind of get that momentum going?
I think even as simple as, if the bench is paying attention, winning the draw after, let's say your team gets scored on, just winning the draw. Everybody can be okay, there we go. We won it. Let's build off that. A little thing, but that has to be something intentional coming from leadership, where you're putting an emphasis on the little details, which then you can get excited about when you win that detail. And then it's something you can build off of. Also, little details done well over and over and over wind up being big things, right? So they create momentum, all of those things. So it's we can celebrate that we just got one of our little details done that we know leads to more and more good things, more opportunities. If you win more faceoffs in the offensive zone, guess what? You're going to have more scoring chances. Right? Yeah. That's just going to be a math thing. Okay. You're the Cornell guy. You can probably pull out the stats, but
not a math guy.
So if it's your team is focused on little details, you can then celebrate when you do them well and look at that as a momentum changer. But
we had Nate DiCasimiro on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, and he talked about using block shots as your goals, using a face-off win as your assists, those little things, instead of thinking about the totality of getting on the score sheet. It's getting some wins through some of the more attainable things, that's a little bit more in your control. the block shots and the big hits and all that kind of stuff. And I do agree with you. I think that stuff, a big hit could change it. A fight could change it. A scrum, like you got a Brad Marchand type player on your team who the goalie covers the puck. They give him a little nudge, get everybody riled up. It's about like just getting the excitement back, getting the mojo, as Austin Powers would call it, getting that back. And there's a lot of different ways to do that on the ice. I think it starts with those little things or those like tough sacrifice kind of things. And the other thing is just like bench energy, man. Like bench energy. Like it's hard to gain momentum if you don't have good bench energy. So if something happens on the ice and everybody's sitting there with the thumb up their butt, just being like, okay, whatever, big hit, somebody blocks a shot, great play, dude, that can be a momentum killer. But I love
that bench energy. Yeah,
you get the players like enthused. But the one thing that I would caution people on that is that's got to be like an every game thing, because I've also been a part of benches where the momentum's not there and you almost fake it, where it's like, okay, like we got to get some positive energy, blah, blah, but like the players, like it's half-assed and it's not genuine,
Yeah.
It's where like I always say, like the tighter your team is off the ice, like the better bench energy you're going to have. And the more you're going to appreciate and cheer on, the little things on the ice that I think you really need to be good as a hockey team. And so, yeah, man, I like bench energy, I think is a really big part of that. And I think when it's player driven, that's when it's the most powerful. Like if it's the coach that's begging you to have more positive bench energy, like that's not good. You're going to stay stuck in the mud. But like if it's coming from the team, or a leader, somebody steps up, like, let's go, like that can really help shift momentum, I think.
100%. It's like I was saying, if your team is a team that focuses on the little details, well, then you can celebrate when you do the little details well.
Yeah.
And like Toph said, if you have good bench energy and the team is tight, they're going to be excited when guys do a little thing. I can't believe I didn't remember to say block a shot. Block a shot's the easiest one to get behind.
Easiest one. Yeah.
Like that's
take a hit to make a play at the older levels.
Yeah. Right.
It's the little things that don't show up on the score sheet, but that's what championship teams do. I think the other thing too is like as a coach, you have to be mindful of your energy on the bench. I've played for and I've been a coach who's kind of rode the waves, when things are going well, it's woo, life's good. And then like when things aren't going well, you kind of retreat back. And I just think like David Carl almost, right? Like he just looks like he's so stoic on the bench. Like the head coach at Denver, they've won how many national championships over the last how many years? Just like if you as the coach are like succumbing so much to the good and the bad of what's going on in the game, like the team is going to take after that. They're going to follow that. If you're yelling at the refs, things like that. And so I just feel like your energy as a coach, and if you're even keel, the lows probably won't be as low. You might not get too high on the highs, which is actually a good thing because it's going to keep you grounded. You're going to still work. So like, I feel like the coach's energy can set the example on the extremes, if that makes any sense.
100%. It's funny. I opened up Twitter this morning, I think it was, and a video popped up of a reporter talking about Marty St. Louis in, I think it was the second round of the playoffs. They were down 2-0 in a game, and they had a time that they were supposed to do a bench interview with him. You know how they do that now? And they canceled the interview because they were like, oh, they're down 2-0. He's not going to want to do the interview. And the next game, he went to the reporter. He's like, hey, when we're supposed to do an interview, and they're like, you guys just got down 2 goals. We didn't want to bother you, whatever. He's like, that's up to me. It doesn't matter what we're up to, we're down to. If you got an interview to do, I'm going to do the interview. Like, and so if he was a coach who was freaking out and like, get away from me, I'm not doing an interview right now. Like, what does that do to the bench? It's exactly what Toph is talking about here. And that's probably why all the players on Montreal absolutely love playing for the guy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, momentum's an interesting thing. People have tried to quantify it analytically. You talk about ice tilt now, that's something that the analytics community is kind of looking into. And there's a lot of really good research going on that. But yeah, I think momentum is a real thing. There's other people that don't. Like, I think that mojo, juice, things like that. You can sustain it when it's going well. You got to nip it in the butt when it's not. And hopefully some of the things that we talked about here today can help with that as you're on the bench with your team, or if you're a player, how to help do that with your teammates. So momentum, check it out, and Stanley Cup Finals. Let's go.
You.